Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Ganesh Housing Corporation Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Go India Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rajat Gupta from Go India Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nirav. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Ganesh Housing Corporation Limited earnings call to discuss the Q2 FY22 results. We have on the call with us today Mr. Rajendra Shah, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Neeraj Kalavatia, Vice President Finance, and Mr. Ravi, Corporate and Financial Advisor. We must remind you that the discussion on today's call may include certain forward-looking statements and must be therefore viewed in conjunction with the risk that the company faces. May I request Mr. Rajendra Shah to take us through the company's business outlook and financial highlights, subsequent to which we'll open the floor for Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rajat, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you all on our maiden earnings call, and I thank you all for joining us today. I hope you would have gone through our corporate presentation, which has been uploaded on exchange and company website. While we have been in real estate business for over 4 decades, we have been listed since 1993. We have not been very active in our investor interactions, and as we now embark on this next phase of growth, we wanted to ensure that our company organization is well understood. As far as outlook of real estate sector is concerned, you all are aware that the sector suffered a setback both during the first and second wave of COVID. Both demand and supply remained adversely affected during these first 2 months of April to June quarter of 2021. A period when most states remained under lockdown to contain the second wave of coronavirus spread. However, sales and new launch numbers started to pick up when states began to gradual opening up process. Therefore, we had a very strong Q2 performance, and we are highly optimistic about the upcoming festive season. The traction has picked up superbly, and we are looking for things very positive. So before I talk about financial performance in detail, I would like to give you a brief overview of our company. We have been in real estate business for over 4 decades and have largely focused on Ahmedabad, where we enjoy leadership position in residential segment. Residential is one of the key focus areas, and we have delivered almost 22 million square feet of residential and commercial space since we began our journey. From these completed projects, we have generated a free cash flow of almost about INR 8,000 million. We have built a large land bank over last few years in Ahmedabad. We have one of the largest developable land bank of about 500 acres in prominent and potential great growth areas. Our strategy here has always been to acquire land here early in areas where we see significant growth potential in coming years. We have a strong execution track record, and that is one of the key reasons of our strong brand recall. To give an example, one of the key residential projects called Maple Tree, with over 2 million square feet of development, we have been able to deliver the project in a short span of 48 months. We have been diligently improving and deleveraging our balance sheet. And over the past 2.5 years, we have reduced our long-term debt by 67%. We currently have a debt of INR 2,114 million and comfortable debt equity ratio of 0.4 times. Moving on to our performance during Q2 of FY22. On the operational front, we had done new sales of INR 1030 million during this quarter, which saw a growth of 42% sequentially in terms of booked area, which came largely from our ongoing project. We booked approximately 2.75 lakh sq ft, which was sequentially 37% higher. So if you look at the mix of sales, the just launched projects, the projects that we have launched in last 6 months gave us 77% of the new bookings, and 23% of the bookings have come from completed projects. Additionally, our collections have also increased considerably during this quarter and stood at 573 million, which is 8% higher than the last quarter. Also, if I must give you one more parameter in yardstick, 8% of the sales have come from units which are costing less than 50 lakhs. 69% of the sales have come from units which are costing between 50 to 100 lakhs, and rest of the sales have come from units which are costing more than 100 lakhs. As of September 2021, as of September 2021, we have unsold inventory of 0.23 million sq ft in ongoing project, which we consider to fetch INR 890 million in current market scenario. Also, ending September 2021, we have unsold completed inventory of 0.1 million sq ft, which we value the same at 450 million. I will briefly touch upon Q2 FY22 financial performance. Our revenue has increased 4x on YOY basis, and our top line was INR 739 million versus INR 146 million last year same time. We maintained a high EBITDA margin of 40%. Margins have remained healthy due to various cost-cutting measures that have been adopted across the project by the company, along with the sales and marketing functions which are being digitally optimized. Our debt has been reduced from INR 5076 million last year to INR 2114 million currently. Ongoing and upcoming projects in key locations of Ahmedabad provides us with great comfort and visibility of cash flow, which keeps us on track to deleverage further. Profit before tax for Q2 came in at rupees 198 million, which is 161% higher as compared to Q1, and the PAT was reported at INR 152 million, which is up by 181% as compared to Q1. I will now briefly touch upon our future growth prospects and guidance. We have a strong and robust project pipeline of 4 residential and 2 commercial projects. These projects are being launched in phased manner, with 2 projects being launched in next 6 to 12 months, 3 projects being launched in next 12 to 24 months, and 1 project will be launched after 24 months, that is between 2 and 3 years from now. The expected sales value of these projects put together will be between INR 4,000 rupees per square feet to INR 5,000 rupees per square feet. We expect that our ongoing project will generate a cash flow of around 2,300 million over next 3 years. With this, I request the floor to be opened up for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Nabil from Nabil Enterprises. Please go ahead. Nabil, your line is in talk mode. May I request you to go ahead and unmute your line, please? Naveel, can you hear us? Due to no response, we move on to the next participant. Participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Palak Chopra from Kapoor and Kapoor Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Hi. First of all, thank you for taking up my question, and congratulations to the team for good set of numbers. So can you please tell me what changes in business strategy was implemented in the last 2 years which led to this strong performance, or is it just an upswing due to change in market conditions?
Thank you, Ms. Palak. I would say last 2 years have been typically bad for company because of few reasons, which I would like to narrate some of them. Last 4 years, we actually concentrated on completion of one of the very large project which was done by our subsidiary called Mapletree and Maple Trade Center. Our team's energies were focused only on completion and sales and marketing of this project. We actually did not launch any new project in last 4 years. And last 4 years also include those two typical years where pandemic had hit India very badly. And one stream of revenue which we generally consistently receive, which is some of the land sale, which gives us revenue and profits, that also was missing. So I would say last 2 years, yes, they have been abnormal phase of period and should be excluded to consider growth aspects and consider those are abnormal period and should be excluded accordingly.
Right.
In terms of the strategy, because the times were bad, the question of concentrating on the costs, the overheads, these aspects have come to the fore, and that led to a huge reduction. If not for that, the losses which were there in the earlier period could have been higher. Now, as regards the change in strategy, the best strategy always is to announce good projects, because of the great brand recall and the reputation which Ganesh Housing has got, get the bookings as fast as possible, start the project, and then complete and hand it over to the residents or to the commercial guys. That's what happened in Mapletree. So purely the lack of projects led to the situation. Yes, the strategy now is to ensure that not just those 4 projects which have been announced or rather 2 more to be announced, but continuously now keep giving more and more projects to the market and ensure that the cash flow situation, which has already started to improve, further improves.
Right. Thank you. And sir, my next question is, I also wanted to know about your long-term project plans. Like, why have you been restricted to Ahmedabad only? You have more than 500 acres of land there. So are you targeting any other geography also?
First of all, as of now, we have about 500 acres of land which is aggregated, which is there in our hand. Even if we don't acquire any, for hypothetical question, even if we don't acquire any new land parcel, these 500 acres of land will keep us busy for at least 7 or 8 years to come. And as you know that Ahmedabad has been a focus area and growth sector of India recently. Recently you have seen infrastructure of Ahmedabad, which is one of the best in India, so to reckon with. And we expect economy of Ahmedabad and market of Ahmedabad to improve and outpace other markets in India. And hence I think nobody knows what is going to happen in future. But yes, as of now, in medium term, we don't have any plan to expand into other cities other than Ahmedabad.
Okay, sir. And one last
Just to add from Rajendra Bhai, if you see, for last 2 years, the dynamics are changing. Now it is being rated as one of the top 5 business destination of the India. And if you just track across the country, the topmost developers of the countries are now exploring their development in Ahmedabad. So we don't need to go anywhere outside Ahmedabad. Rather, people who are the largest developers of the country, they are not trying to move into Ahmedabad. So that itself shows the potential of Ahmedabad for next 5 to 10 years.
Right, sir. Right. So one more question is, can you please tell what is your average cost of borrowing? If you could just please give a number. And also, with significant debt reduction and enhanced liquidity, is there any chance that our credit rating goes up and our cost reduces further?
See, our average cost of borrowing as on the quarter closing this last quarter was 14.5%. And we are currently in the mode of accelerated repayment, where we are going ahead of in terms of our repayment schedule by at least by 1 year. So that actually is helping us to reduce cost of borrowing a little more. So definitely that will help us in both in terms of the lower cost of borrowing as well as the reduction of the finance cost for this year as against whatever we have estimated as per the schedule. That is the one part. Secondly, that definitely if you see last 2 financial year where the reported numbers has not that been encouraging, and as compared to that, the first 6 months has been very promising numbers, and we are expecting this trend to continue for this closing financial year also. So definitely there will be re-rating of our rating also, basis this reported numbers also in the books of account as well as the substantial reduction in the cost borrowing also.
Right. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Srishti from Wellwin Computers and Electronics. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, Srishti.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and congratulations on the strong numbers. Sir, I just had few questions. First is on the debt side. How are you shaping up the capital structure for the company? Are you planning to go completely debt-free? Because we are seeing significant debt reduction in the balance sheet over the last couple of years. Or do you have any plans on raising more working capital loans for newer projects that may be coming in near term? So any light on that?
Yeah. See, in a real estate sector, as you would very well know, I don't think there'll be ever a situation of a completely zero debt at all. However, there are situations where when large projects are announced and the bookings are done faster, and which has happened, let's say, for Ganesh Housing, the last 2 projects, the bookings have been 100%, and the second one also about 70% in a span of just 2 months. When such things happen, yes, there can be a cash flow situation which can lead to a complete repayment of debt and come to a debt-free situation. But moment, let us say, some larger project is announced, let's say something like a township or some SEZ, there could be certain borrowings, but as far as the strategy is concerned, we have fixed up that we would not want to go overboard in that. We will be well containing it within probably the 1:1 debt equity ratio, and better still, the cash flow wise, whatever we say, we probably will form a formula for cash flow related debt. But otherwise, I don't think we'll ever go to those peak debt of 790 crores which we have seen. That I think is a thing of the past for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And second is on the peers front, who are our major competitors, and how do you see competition in this sector as of now? And do you think that already established players will be benefiting more in terms of growth as the supply is being absorbed from a few limited players only right now?
See, from a competition side, you see there are many good players who are operating in this market. And largely, if you see the trend in the real estate in Ahmedabad market, most of these developers are pocket-centric, especially the branded players, where they do the land pooling on a particular area. They accumulate a land over a period of time and develop a project one by one in that area, so that they have a better reach and command over that area. And same is with us also. Like we have a very huge land bank in the two particular pockets, and where we command everything in terms of the sales also, in terms of the pricing also. And that way, Malaki, competition among the larger players are very less, because obviously most of the players are operating in their own pockets. And in terms of the smaller players, now you see with the implementation of the RERA and GST, most of the smaller players are now out of the market. They are either non-compliant or they are not able to cope with the kind of the requirement of the governance in this issue. So they are already wiped out almost eventually. So that we don't see them as a competition at all.
So Shrishi, just to add to what Neeraj has just said, real estate is such a sector where confidence, public confidence in the real estate developer is the maximum, which attracts any buys or any new project sales. So the brand value and Ganesh Housing's, let's say, the reputation which is there of delivering absolutely on time and giving projects which have been far better than what the competitors have been giving out, probably will attract more customers as compared to the competitors. And generally, the 3-4 brands will attract, and rest of them will see the growth, because upsurge in the real estate, but definitely not as good growth as these well-established brands.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you for explaining in such a detail. I'll come back in the queue if I have more questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Preeti Singh from Value Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi everybody. Thank you for taking my question. So I have a couple of them. So what is the strategy on commercial assets, and will you be looking to build a large rental portfolio?
Preeti, we do have a project which is conducive for construction of large commercial project, and we expect lot of possibilities and lot of trend as far as construction of commercial spaces and leasing them out is concerned. However, leasing is something which is very capital intensive business, wherein you are supposed to construct complete construction and land, and thereafter only you can lease it out. So we need to mix out our projects well in such a manner that you have good mix of resi versus commercial projects, such that your cash flow is balanced. And yes, after 6 to 8 months, you may see we may announce launch of one of the commercial projects.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's good to hear. And another question. So the current uptake, do you think is because of the pent-up demand, or are you seeing a shift towards larger homes because of the work from home situation?
The work from home is good as long as the pandemic is there. But the moment I see already the trend has started where people are now coming out of the work from home culture itself. Like we talk about the city like Ahmedabad, we are not seeing any such trend. These are largely work from home culture is concentrated in the metro cities. Like even post the second wave also in Ahmedabad, most of the office were working as it is only, where people were operating from the office itself. From a residential, that there is a big upcycle has happened in terms of demand because of this pandemic itself, because people, when they started living at their home, then they started taking care of their homes. And then they realized that they actually need to upgrade their homes, or they need to move on to a new home. And that is giving a big confidence to our numbers also, like both this recent two projects which we launched within this 6 months. One has got a booking of up to 95% till the last quarter, and second one, which was launched just in the first week of August itself, has till date has got a booking of 60%.
So it is pent-up demand also?
Yes, this big pent-up demand.
To add to whatever Neeraj has said, actually one also needs to see supply side of real estate. If you see 2 years back, we would have seen large inventory pile up, which has recently been liquidated over last 2 years, and that new project launches have considerably reduced. Now we are seeing new projects which are getting launched. So disposable inventory which was available with developers last 2 years back is not as much as which is right now, meaning it has reduced substantially, and right now developers have not much to sell.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's all from my side for now.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Poonam Joshi from Nirmal Bang Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Poonam.
Congratulations to the team for the good set of numbers, and thank you for taking up my question. I have 2 questions. The first question is, given the robust demand in residential segment, so could you please throw some light on what all new project the company intends to launch if 4 to 5 years down the line, and what all strategy and planning have already been in place for that? My second question is, given the strong demand in the housing segment, and which is supported by that of low interest rate scenario, there is a risk that this commodity prices going up drastically, which will have put up pressure on the pricing front. So do you think it is the best time for a consumer to enter into the market, or the consumer should wait before it gets normalized? And how do you foresee the demand for residential segment in next 2 to 3 years time frame? Thank you.
We are taking your one question at a time. Like coming back to your first question in terms of the residential project, we have already launched 2 residential projects. Just I talked about the 2 projects, Malabar County 3, which are already been sold out till 95%, and another project of Malabar Exotica that has been booked 60% till date. And along with that, we are now coming with another project, Malabar Retreat, which we are targeting to launch somewhere in the quarter ending in the month of December itself. This is the immediate. Then there's a big township phase 1 project, Smile City. That is also we are planning within our time horizon of next 1 year. The first phase is expected to be started, and that will be a big cash cow for we are expecting to be in terms of our future cash flow generation. And along with that, in our IT SEZ portion, there will be 2 non-processing projects are also planned up, which will be coming up in over next 24 to 36 months.
Those also will be residential.
Those 2 will be also the residential. So we have a good lined up of the project. These are the projects which we have already finalized in terms of our planning. And along with that, in between, if something more development happens or new opportunity comes up, those things will definitely be on the paper. But right now, whatever the projects we are communicating, these are the like firm projects which we are on the paper in terms of the planning.
Now coming to your second question, where you said input costs have been consistently going up, whether it is the right time to buy any housing unit now, and interest rate being one of the lowest in history. First thing first, interest rate, yes, sub 7% mortgage loan is something which India had not seen earlier, which is right now visible. Secondly, though though input costs have started going up, we have seen real estate finished product prices which are stagnant for over last 7-8 years across India, across all the projects. We have also seen that supply which was piled up has been liquidated. All these things indicate, yes, that this is a good time to invest in real estate for those who want to invest, or else those end customers who want to buy real estate. I think this is the best time where I would say last 5-6 years, if you see sheer inflation has pushed up cost of everything else, but not the real estate. It is some time that yes, real estate also will pick up. But before that, if somebody wants to encash this opportunity, this is best time which is available. I would, just to sum up, I would say for real estate, worst is over, good has just started, and best is yet to come.
Okay. Thank you. Just a follow-up question on this. For this first question, you talked about that you intend to launch 2 residential projects which are there in your pipeline. So is the project is going to get funded purely from the internal accruals and the cash which the company generates, or like the company is going to issue the new debt for getting the project started over the next couple of years? So what is the plan in terms of capital structure here?
The way it looks, the way it is going, Poonam, I don't think there's going to be huge debt requirement for executing these projects, because normally all these residential projects are done on the booking basis, and the way the 2 bookings have happened, there's not going to be any money requirement to do the construction. It will all end up in being cash flow. While these residentials probably may not require, sometimes, over and above the question about these, money not being required for residential projects, the biggest thing is that it is being built on a land which has already been paid for and which is already there sitting in the books. And therefore, the large part of the costs which are there, which are not going to be incurred, so the cash flow will always remain positive. And it's only the construction, and obviously we'll be encashing on the land cost, which is being always cash positive. Sometimes all this cash might be required for maybe certain new acquisitions of another land if required, or maybe doing certain commercial projects which may not necessarily follow the same pattern of booking. So in our belief, as I said earlier, there may not be any requirement of huge debt, but maybe just about the leverage which we already have, may not be additional leverage. But the real estate does desire to have some debt or the other. But I think we'll always keep it well under control, never go to the earlier levels ever.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking up my question. If I have any other further questions, I will come in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Girija Daga from KM Visaria Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello, team. So I have a couple of questions from my side. So first, you mentioned about 500 acres of land, if I heard correctly. What can be the total saleable area over that land, if you can get that number?
See, as per our rough estimation and basis available FSI which is there currently as per current GDCR norm, there is a potential of the development of 36 million square feet on this 500 acre of land.
Okay. And if you do have done some amount of valuation there, that what is the value of those lands currently we are setting on?
We have not done any formal valuation, but there is a rough estimate that on conservative basis, these 500 acres of land would be valued in market roughly at about 2,500 crores.
Okay. My next question is related to the scheme of arrangement which we have announced sometimes back. So actually I have certain observation there. When I look at the valuation report of the company, I realized that we have valued a listed company Ganesh Housing based on the market price, while entities which are merged, private entities, have been based on the cost price, the value of the land based on that assessment. Why this discrepancy? Like, why not value both on a same metrics?
Sorry, what did you say last?
Why on the different metrics?
Okay. See, the question, the valuation was done on all parameters. What we got a valuation report was considering all parameters, while the other companies were not listed, and that listed entity's land which was being brought into this company through the merger route had to be valued as per the present market price, because the cost otherwise was very, very low. So that's the reason why that land had to be done at the current market price, and there was no other parameter, frankly, to value that in terms of a price available in the market. The second parameter that was used was to say what was the sale value of the price of the land which is next to these areas, and that was coming to the value which came in. As far as Ganesh Housing is concerned, that's the best parameter always is what the share price is there in the market. Now, the potential of Ganesh Housing always comes in from the new projects launched, the profitability which may come in the future, and what will happen in terms of the cash flows. At the time when the scheme was done, there was no particular project launched, or even if suppose you have to really make a value, you'll have to value the 500 acres of land bank to really get the potential value of GHCL. Now, that is humanly not possible, because you never know whether these things can actually be done in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. So, in any valuation methodology, the best value for a listed entity is what the market price of that listed entity is. So, they put that parameter. It was done by 2 independent valuers, and it was the fairness opinion was given by the merchant bankers and the chartered accountant firm which are external to the independent directors, and we accepted what they had given.
Sorry, sir, but I'll beg to differ here, because what we had done the valuation, actually the valuation report in front of me, we had valued the GHCL at 64 rupees. That point of time, the price was there about a year back. And that time the valuation was coming at about 310, 320 crore. And we have valued the land as about closer to 220 crore kind of a number. Plus we are going 10% discount, so close to 200 crore. So we had done a very high dilution for the minority shareholder. We are talking about a land value of 2,500 crore, and we are valuing GHCL for just a paltry 300 crore kind of a value. And we are merging the group entities at a 200 crore of market valuation. So it's a big injustice to the minority shareholder, isn't it?
This is, Rajendra will add, but I just wanted to say that, the methodology for valuation is for listed entities also prescribed by SEBI, the stock exchange valuation method, where they talk about the lows and highs of the previous 6 weeks and the 3 months and all. I think that was also considered in that. And yes, you want to add, Rajesh.
Girija, did I get your name very clearly? Yeah. See, I would like to say here one thing. If somebody who understands Ahmedabad real estate market, for him it will be easier to understand this. The land which is coming in is as a result of amalgamation of 3 companies is located in Saltej, and land bank what we are valuing is located on outskirts of Ahmedabad. Large part of land bank which we are valuing. So it is like comparing a land parcel which is there in BKC with a land parcel which is there in Alibag. So 3 acres of land which is coming in, which is located in Saltej area, is much more valuable than land of 500 acres which is located on outskirts of Ahmedabad, which is about 30 kilometers away from city center. So one can't say that 2,500 crores is a valuation of 500 acres of land, and as again that you are giving valuation of 220 crores to 3 acres of land which is coming in.
No, sir. Sorry, sir. I'm not comparing the valuation. What I'm comparing is that you have given the market value of that land, right? 2,500 crore. So I'm comparing.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing the size per se. The size may be 500 acre, 1,000 acre. The rates are different there. The rates are different here. So I'm agree with that. I'm not questioning those. I'm questioning that if we value the GHL also based on the market value of that land, what will be the number at that point of time? The dilution would have been much smaller compared to what dilution we have done as of now. So that should have been a very fair to the minority shareholder. I agree with the legality part of it. I'm not questioning the legality part. I'm just questioning the fair part of it. Was it fair deal for the minority shareholder? That I don't think so. That was my observation.
No, I tend to disagree with you because as per SEBI norms, we are supposed to take last 27 weeks average of 24 weeks average of whatever was existing share price then. We were looking for new projects and we saw this opportunity wherein without raising further debt we could have got land and prime land in Ahmedabad just by diluting some equity stake. And we thought it fit, meaning we have got valuation done from registered valuers.
We also have, we can get back separately also to you because there's a good note which had been prepared. I don't have it at this point in time as to what the value of the land which has actually come in is actually worth. So frankly, from one of the observations made by the independent directors was that what has come in is far cheaper than what we can actually get a value of that. So frankly, the dilution could have probably have been higher, but it was limited to this. But what we can do is we will take this in far more details. It's a very good question which we actually value and we would like to clarify from a minority shareholder's perspective because that's one thing which we have uppermost in mind, that minorities have to be given their dues. So I think it deserves a better and more detailed answer than what we are giving here. Let us take that offline.
Sure, sir. Let's connect offline.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Next question is from the line of Srishti from Wellwin Computers and Electronics. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for the follow-up opportunity. So I just had two questions. First, on the slide 7 of the presentation, it is mentioned that revenue booked till date is rupees 2,500 crores. So I'm assuming that in the last 40 years, this is the total sales in the last 40 years. And now we are planning for almost 3,000 crores till FY26. So in next 5 years. So is this my understanding correct for the revenue booking side?
Yeah, your understanding is correct. This is largely, if you see, this 25,000 billions is a figure relating to last 30 years over a period of time. And if you see the dynamics of Ahmedabad, Ahmedabad has always been rated as a tier 3 city where your value of the units has always been on a lower side as well as the size of the project has always been the lower side. So over a period of time, gradually, though we have been established there, but largely the nature of the construction and the size of the project has been smaller, not to that great extent. And as compared, if you see the trend of last 8 to 10 years, now actually the upliftment of Ahmedabad in terms of the size of the units, the value of the units as well as the size of the project also, that has increased phenomenally. Like we ourselves has launched multiple projects with 700 units, 600 units. Our targeted project also are something like where we offer larger number of units in a single project. So obviously in terms of value to value comparison over the last 20-30 years to the current period also, we see there is a big huge difference in terms of the value scale in the city. So that actually being converted into a larger value in the coming years.
Yeah, okay. And so my second question, so we understand that you have a lot of large land parcels for SEZ purpose. And so what are your plans for developing that land, and are you expecting any contribution from that land to our revenue?
Yeah, if you see our slide where we have portrayed in terms of slide number 8, where we have depicted what are our planned projects, we have given 4 projects from that land parcel only, where we are planning to develop phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, which will consider 2 residential to commercial projects to start off in that land parcel in the coming 3 years.
Okay. Thanks so much, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Pranav Gala from iWealth Management. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Pranav.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Hope all is well on your end. Sir, I just had 2 basic questions.
Pranav, lot of echo is coming. I cannot hear you very clearly.
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah. Sir, I hope all is well at your end. Sir, I just had 2 basic questions. Sir, one is, I was seeing the presentation on slide number 12. We had given sales of worth 103 crores and which was at 0.27 million square feet of sales. So I'm assuming this is pre-sales. If you could just help me with the pre-sales of the last year as well and the last quarter as well, please.
See, we have actually compared this number on a quarter-to-quarter basis more appropriately, because last year was mostly disrupted due to COVID, where the sales has come standstill for first 3 months because of the COVID impact itself. So, the comparison was not at all fair. That's why we have actually avoided that in this slide.
Okay. Could you
because this first quarter was operational and this second quarter was operational. So we have actually compared quarter to quarter.
So could you give me the last quarter number? Yeah.
And that is like-to-like comparison.
Yeah.
However, if you for academic purpose, if you want those numbers, we can always come back to you. Right now, we do not have that number ready.
Okay, sir. No problem. Sir, I just also wanted the breakup of, so in our other current assets, we have some money which comes as advance from customers, right? So if you could just also give me that number for the quarter, if it's okay, if it's handy.
Sure, that I will give you.
Yes, sir.
Other current assets, you said breakup of other current assets.
Land advances, the advances from customers.
Yeah.
While they're getting the number, these are all, the sales happen over a period of time, right? Large land deals. So the money keeps coming every quarter. So they take out what money has been received the last quarter. That adds to the cash flows, frankly. Sales might have been booked earlier, but these keep. So some advances are there and some will be happening over a period of time, right?
Okay. So it is like if
you'd like to take the question? Yeah.
Hello?
Here is the number. Please, you can go ahead with the next question. He's taking over now.
So, I actually just wanted a little broader view. So, like I was hearing you all saying that we have a few more projects coming up. So, sir, in the 500-acre land, by when are we expecting? What is the broader view that we have as to how to utilize that entire land of 36 million square feet, and as to when it will be, what are the phases that we are going about in that?
Please, slide number 7.
I'm coming back to your first question where you talked about the last year, this quarter number. In terms of this pre-sale number, last year, the same quarter, it was 0.1 million. And in terms of the value, it was 4.23 million.
Okay.
So largely the sales was disrupted during last year.
Okay, and the same would be for the previous quarter?
Yes, because first 2 quarters last year was completely disrupted in the real estate market, because most of if you see this thing, what we call, the first 3 months were completely locked down, and then it was followed by a very gradual release of the lockdown. So obviously, the real estate sector was one of those sectors which was massively impacted because of this COVID issue.
Right. And sir, are we seeing any price increase in our part of the area? I mean, in Ahmedabad itself? Recently, there have been certain price
We have recently seen our Malabar Exotica project, which is not very far away from Malabar 2, which we have recently completed and delivered. Malabar 2 average sale price was roughly about 3,300 rupees, and Malabar Exotica is being sold at about 3,800 rupees a square feet. That is average realization right now. So yes, we have seen about 20% increase in real estate prices in our projects.
Great. And going forward, are we seeing this trend continue going forward? As in when, I mean, on ground is that what you're seeing?
Yes, very much so. We expect this to continue because, as I told in my earlier address, real estate prices have remained subdued or stagnant for last 7 to 8 years. And real estate is one of the asset class which generally gives, over very long term, it gives positive returns. So these 8 months of stagnancy will catch up somewhere, and yes, we will see real estate prices continuously going up for medium to long term.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. A request to all participants, please limit to one question per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. The next question is from the line of Poonam Joshi from Nirmal Bang. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Poonam. Tell me.
Hi. Thank you for the follow-up question. So I have one question. Given the commercial real estate segment has remained impacted during COVID times. However, for the IT segment, especially for the IT and IT-enabled services, there was a bulk of hiring happening due to the requirement of digitalization from the corporates. So I wanted your understanding, what portion of revenue does we cater, what proportion of the revenue comes from the IT and IT segment, and given the fact that in case if we have a higher proportion of revenue coming in from that segment, are we in a good place to to position wherein we can have a good realizations in place in terms of rental income from those segments?
See, in terms of our planned IT-SEZ commercial operations, where in this next 5-year plan, we are expecting around 30% of the overall revenue will come from this IT-SEZ business activity.
Okay. And are we tapping on the opportunity, or do you foresee any improvement in the lease rental realization, of what the realization we are getting it from the segment right now?
Right now, the number of inquiries have increased. The last 2-3 months, the development has been very favorable in terms of this kind of development, as we have already started receiving inquiries as well as various discussions are happening on the project scale itself. We cannot dilute more information right now on this front, but there is definitely a positive development on this side. And as the way the things are moving and we are coming out of COVID environment, definitely this is the one thing, because people are now adapted to the IT technologies. So more and more such kind of projects will definitely help us to build a larger portfolio.
Okay. So is it good to say that we will have a good balance out between the residential and commercial in terms of product mix?
Yes. Right now, our plan is that way only, where we will balance everything. It will be a good mix of residential, then commercial, and mixed project also.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question for today. I will now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
So thank you, participants, and Rajat and team. On behalf of Ganesh Housing, I express our gratitude and thank you very much for attending this earning call and taking interest in company. We'll continue to remain in touch with you, and we endeavor that we will keep continuous in touch with investor community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Go India Advisors, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.